Hello and welcome to the Gooner Talk and Merry Christmas. I hope you've had a fantastic lead up to the big day and are going to enjoy it for those that, of course, are celebrating. I am, and that's why we're doing a Christmas special on the channel. And welcome to those that are indeed listening and watching along. I'm going to be joined by some fantastic guests for a little bit of a chilled chat about the Arsenal and some fun and games as well over the next 45 minutes or so. Let's introduce to you my guests. Let's talk to my right-hand gal on our Eat, Sleep, Arsenal, Repeat podcast. It's Soph. How you doing, Soph?
I'm epic. Long time no see.
Yeah, yesterday. Of course, we recorded yesterday. It actually went out today, but not today, Christmas Day. It went out last Wednesday.
Merry Christmas, everyone.
Lots of time traveling going on here. Indeed. Merry Christmas to everybody listening. Also joined by Lee Judges. How you doing, mate? You good? You well?
Oh, I'm good, thank you very much. Merry Christmas, everybody. Merry
Absolutely.
Christmas.
And
Ho, ho,
the man who got the memo about the Christmas hat the most, it's Mike. How you doing?
One of these things just doesn't belong. Christmas hats, and then a Jew who's a proper Arsenal fan. That's what we got on this show.
Hey, look, this has an Arsenal badge on it, actually. So there you go. But yeah.
Hold the mayo. I think my hat beats everyone's. Are you ready?
Yeah, I'm ready for this.
Have yourself a merry little Christmas.
Oh, wow.
Make the Yuletide. Is it gay?
Yeah,
oh,
so.
Wow. Cheers, everyone. There you go, Lee.
That.
You want to borrow it?
Mine's a bit limp. I don't know what's going on.
AI. It's a totally different show.
It's got a little bobble on it, though. You know what I mean?
Just the one. Just the one.
just the one snowball.
Absolutely. I love this about Mike. When Mike joins us on his phone, what he doesn't realize is when everybody else is talking, his phone automatically cuts his own voice out so that he can't talk over people. It's his phone has actually restricted him. I love this. It's great. But Mike, how are you doing? You enjoying yourself out in the world?
Loving life. I am excited to be making my way back overseas in a few weeks. Might be a little more chilly than my current environs. But splitting time between
environs. What are you?
Environs is a reach for some slang. Are
you an alpha, a generation? That's not even a Generation Z thing. Like, what the heck is?
I will be traveling from Florida to London in a couple of weeks, and I can't wait. Looking forward to it. Mostly looking forward to seeing you lot and having food taken off my plate by this guy.
Bread rolls?
Yeah. Bread rolls.
Bread rolls.
He'll never forgive me for that, for nicking his peas, right? You know what I mean? But at least I didn't nick a blind man's chips. That's all I'm saying, like, you know what I mean? So
Lee, I told you can touch me anywhere you want, but don't touch my pee.
Did you nick Daniel Bailey's chips? Is that what you did?
Oh, it wasn't Daniel Bailey.
Was it not Daniel Bailey? He's the only blind Arsenal guy I know, so that's bad of me to assume that.
Was it George?
Yeah.
Georgie? Was it Georgie?
Georgie, I'll tell you what, Georgie is the biggest top sport you could ever wish to meet, like, you know, and
he's a fabulous person.
Yeah, we was nicking his chips without him knowing it, like.
I don't know.
It's just mean. That's horrible.
It's like something out of a Peter Farrelly movie, you know.
I know that Daniel listens to this pod. Dan, if you're listening, you do leave a comment and let us know if someone did that to you. How would you feel?
Daniel was doing it. No, he was nicking them. Daniel, don't worry about that.
My goodness.
He was
Tom. Tom is like a sequel of Your Chips.
Yeah. Yeah, Ramsdale coming on nicking people's chips. Love that.
We're not. We've got to put it into context. It weren't like he knew we was doing it. Like, do you know what I mean? So,
I hope so.
Oh yeah.
I didn't just spot him in the pub and then just
went
over to his table every now and again.
We was nicking.
No, he didn't. He did not know. There's no way.
Listen, I was quick. You've been there in and out. He didn't have a clue.
It's chips. It's bread rolls at the FCAs. You know, there was, to be fair, we didn't get bread rolls at the last one, Lee.
No,
because Mike wasn't there.
Yeah,
we got an extra dinner though, didn't we?
Lee took it into the kitchen, took all the bread rolls before they brought them out.
Yeah, it must be what it was. Yeah, we did get it. Was nice food, to be fair. It was a pie, I think we had, wasn't it?
Pie, steak kidney pie or steak pie, steak and ale pie. And there was a picture the scene. There was like one dinner left. Come left, and they put the dinner down, and you could see there was a few people going, "Well, what's going to happen with that dinner?" Like, but
Clive was looking at it.
there was a few people looking at it, and I just thought, well, I'm going for it. And I said, "Does anybody want this dinner?" No, you go for it, Lee. You know what I mean?
Wait, question for Lee: whose bird did Dan Potts hit on this time?
Who's what?
Whose bird did Potts hit on this? Did he steal anyone's wife this year?
Oh, Potsy.
Yeah.
Potsy didn't go. You know what I mean?
Potsy wasn't there.
Well,
no, he couldn't make it.
You can't call him out either when he's not here.
Yeah, that's
No.
mean. That's just mean.
What is this Christmas Day, or did I tune into like I don't know, one of those Saw movies or one of those crazy? Is someone about to come out of my cupboard and steal my
watch
hat?
this, Mike, can you? Like, you know what I mean? He's just like hanging old Dan out to dry here, like, you know. So
Seriously.
Yeah, well, Potsy was meant to be
the
on
moral of
today's
the
show,
story
but
is
he
that Dan
double
was sitting
booked
next to
us.
a nice woman, wasn't he? Like, let's get
Oh,
it
well,
right.
then
He wasn't-
screw Potsy. Double booked you.
you know,
Mike's right.
Yeah, he's doing something on his own show right now. Well, I say right now. Those listening
He's
to
doing
this
something
now,
on
of
his
course.
own, is he?
Yeah. This is meant to be going out at 8 a.m. It's not going to be able to. I'm going to put it out at 9 o'clock on Christmas Day. It's the only way it can go out at this stage. Let's talk about kind of where we're at with Arsenal. I said I'd finish more seriously, but I think we'll start serious and end. I say start seriously. We've had 6 minutes of absolute trash so far, but we'll start with some more serious stuff because tomorrow will be Arsenal playing against West Ham United. And Lee, I know that you're a bit worried at the moment, that the friendlies have got you worried. So tell us why.
Yes, I'll tell you what it got me, because I've been a big advocate of the pre-season. You know, fortunate enough to go to America and watch it, and Mike was out there as well, like, you know, and watch us be fantastic, play fantastically well. Also in Nuremberg, I see Arsenal play Nuremberg as well. I see the pre-season, and after coming back from Orlando, I was saying, "Wow, what have I buzzing for the team." Of course, then we played Seville at home, if you remember rightly, as well, and smashed them as well. And I really thought that we was on to something big. Now, all of a sudden, these friendlies have come up now, and the pattern is we're dominating the game, or are we dominating it, or are they letting us have possession? I don't know, whatever way you want to look at it from that point of view. And we don't look like the same team. We're not scoring out, we're not taking our chances. And I can't go around and say, yeah, you know, pre-season was fantastic. That's why we got to where we was. I do believe that we took our pre-season form into the Premier League. I've got no hesitation to say that. Now I'm worried about it because it's not quite clicking. You know, a 0-0 draw the other day against Luton behind closed doors, be it being a friendly, lost to Watford behind closed doors. Remember, like, you know, lost to Juventus. 5 out of the friendlies that we've played, we've lost 3. We've lost 3 of them.
Drawn 1, lost 2.
Drawn 1, lost 2, and draw. And I just see that ain't good, guys, and that's a bit of a worry for me. Like, you know, you know, we can't be saying, "Oh yeah, we take the form into the pre-season," and then just go, "Do you know what? We've got a couple of bad results. I'm going to dismiss that." Like, you know, I'm a big believer that you take in you know, look at last season's pre-season. It was awful. Hearts going up there, losing, and
Was it Hearts?
bitty,
Rangers. Was it Rangers we lost to?
Rangers, and I think it was Rangers. I think,
Or
yeah.
Hibs?
Hibs.
Might have been Hibs. Yeah.
Hibs. It was all a little bit bitty, just like it is now. And look what happened when we went into the season. So I am a little bit worried about it. And I say worried. I'm nervous. You know what I mean? I was really, guys, I've been buzzing for 5 weeks for this game. You know what I mean? Like, after what I see against and I'll tell you what, just that brings me up to the point. If you go back to the Wolves game, for 60 minutes, we was on top. You know, was we going to score? Then the magic come from Jesus, and we scored and we won the game. That is my problem. You know what I mean? Is it going to be a little bit like that? We haven't got the little magic, the little stardust in Mr. Jesus. You know what I mean? So I'm a little bit worried. Yeah, I can't lie. I'm going to have a nice, fantastic Christmas day, but I don't think I'm going to be 8 hours sleep like a baby. I'm going to be worried about this on Boxing Day tomorrow.
Yeah, fair enough. Fair enough.
He's
Mike,
cracking me up.
Mike, are you worried, or are you just discounting friendlies because we didn't win them?
I'm not discounting them because we didn't win them, but I do think you have to recognize the difference between these friendlies and the ones in the preseason. A couple of different elements to them. One, you're playing against other teams that, for the most part, other than maybe Orlando FC, are also in their own preseason and trying out new things, possibly not yet signed their full complement of players. We actually, for once this summer, unlike other preseasons, did sign our players early, with the exception of the final ones that we got in at the very, very end. We had Zinchenko for the second half of it. We had Jesus in. We had virtually our entire team in over the summer, and we're just starting out to play together and gelled right away. These friendlies are more about taking who's left. And yes, we had a good assortment of players who were not in the World Cup. And towards the end of these friendlies, we had some of the players like Xhaka, who were back from the World Cup. But these, I think, were just about maintaining fitness levels, about keeping yourself game savvy, not necessarily dominating, although we did. I mean, the Juventus game, if you want to look, the Juventus game was very much like the Manchester United game. The one where VAR made the mistake on our first goal. But we dominated the first half of that Juventus game, and frankly, we outscored them 2-0, just in the wrong net. So I'm just glad that you can look at the result in a friendly and say, you know what, we were the better team for most of it, but we came out on the wrong end because of some poor play, some naivety, some bad luck. Better that than on Monday against West Ham. So, I don't look at these friendlies too much positively or negatively, especially because they're unusual friendlies. They're friendlies that were forced upon us by a break season where 8 or 9 of our best players weren't available, and therefore we played with the rest of what we had. So, no, it doesn't worry me. The injury to Gabby Jesus worries me. The ability for some of our players who were gone to come back and gel quickly that didn't play in the friendlies worries me a bit. But I saw a lot of fluidity. I saw a lot of positives to take from the friendlies, Martin Odegaard being probably the most of those. And I don't see any reason for concern. I'll wait till Monday and see how we come out. And the following game against, who was it?
Brighton.
I'll take a look at those and see whether we have something to worry about, whether our continuity and our play has been completely disrupted by both the break and by injuries. That could be the case, but I'm not taking that from the friendlies.
These humbugs. What are we going to do with them, Mr. Canton? Seriously.
Are you feeling positive then?
I thought it was Christmas, and it's the time of giving, and Arsenal have given their opponents some glimmer of hope. We just didn't really show up. We showed up more like, Santa's helpers. Here's a gift. Here's something. I just think that this is an unprecedented time and a break in a season that we've never seen before. I will hit the panic button, Mr. Judges, and be nervous if we lose to West Ham, because that's a team that we do very well against historically. I think if you go into that game and the performance is lackluster, but the result is positive, I don't care at that point. But if there's a mixture of both, then I think that's the time to kind of think, okay, the pressure will come from the outside as well, Tom. The noise will start, not being able to bounce back immediately after the World Cup, I think will be a problem for Arsenal. And I think also when you've got young players, mentally, you need to have them back and re-engage them. And I think Mikel wants them ready for Boxing Day, as opposed to, okay, we're trying to keep people fit. And I thought it was interesting that Pep said that the players at the World Cup probably in better condition than the players who stayed at home. So I think we just need a little bit of patience here to see how this plays out. I'm not panicked yet.
No, that's fair enough. I am equally not panicked yet because, if I add stress of friendlies to my, the stress of daily life, I can't be dealing with that. So, I'm not going to get panicked about the results of friendlies. I know that we dominated every single one of them. The big question mark has obviously been around the scoring of goals. I was trying to. I didn't manage to get it done in time for today's show, but I was trying to go back, and I'm quite glad I did, because I would have come up with a lot of quotes for Potsy and Simiyu, who aren't here. But we was trying to get a lot of quotes from like years ago, and then you had to guess who the quote was associated with. Maybe we'll do that in a special in time in the future. But I was listening back to one with Lee where he talks about, the fact of just like, we just can't score. And I just get rid of the old team if it was me, which is such a judge's thing to come up with, which would have made it far too predictable. But Lee, one of the things that Arteta came out with, and I say today, so when you're listening to this last Wednesday, is Arteta did an interview with Arsenal.com talking about the situation of the injuries and the friendlies. And in it, he says this, he says, I think it's a huge blow for us. Obviously, he's such an important player, being Jesus. He's brought something very different to the team, and it's impossible to replace him. But we have other players, other alternatives, and we'll try to get that sorted. The transfer window is also another option. He also talks about saying, I think Jesus is a unique player, but Eddie has incredible qualities as well for the way we want to play. And we have other alternatives in that we can play Martinelli up front as well. And we're currently a little bit short in terms of options up front, but getting Smith Rowe back is going to be a big one. Now, we talked about this a little bit in a WhatsApp chat, and we kind of agreed that, that kind of is a bit of an admittance that he clearly doesn't have full faith in Eddie to be Jesus's replacement, because he's already talking about, if it doesn't work out of Eddie, we've got Martinelli, we've got Smith Rowe. To me, there was, and I'm never the person to kind of look things negatively, but I was a little bit flustered by that quote, because it made me think, maybe he's not sold on Eddie being the guy. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, I understand what he's saying, and listen. At the end of the day, it's facts, isn't it? It is facts. If you really look at it and be brutally honest about it, Jesus is a massive blow to us. You know what I mean? If you look on the World Cup, who's had the biggest kick in the teeth in the Premier League? It's us, because I think he's pivotal to this team. I think, if I'll be really honest about Arsenal, forget about Zinchenko because he's not been about enough. But the two players that have changed Arsenal this from shall I dare say a mediocre team, if I'll be honest, you know what I mean, challenging for the 4 or 5 or whatever, to a team like we are 5 points clear, has been Jesus and Saliba. They've been the two. And to lose Jesus is I think massive, because he has actually changed football as a striker, I think, because all of a sudden we're not going, it's all about goals. It's not all about goals, you know what I mean? Like, when have you ever said that about a forward until he's come along? Because he does so much more than just score goals. He creates, as a going on about that game against Wolves, Eddie can't do that. Eddie has not got that in his locker. Now Martinelli has, so that could be where he's looking to maybe bring in Martinelli down that flank, from the flank into the middle. But I don't mean I don't want to get on Eddie's back on whatever, like, because I've been a little bit disappointed with Arsenal fans at this moment in time saying he ain't good enough, and straight away saying it, and without giving him a chance, really. Like, he's got his chance with all the good players around him, which he's not had in the Europa League, what people forget. But when you look at it from his point of view, I look at Eddie. He's more of a goal scorer. He's not that sort of a player. So if he's not supplying, what is he going to do? He's not going to be able to make those little passes and things like that, and do that sort of stuff. And how can I say, like, if you're a centre half, I've seen good central defenders, and I mean top central defenders, come up against Jesus. He's bullied them. He's bashed into them. He's frightened them. He's made them scared. He's made them panic. Which has allowed space for Saka and other guys coming through. I don't think that Dyer and Maguire and whoever like will be having restless sleeping nights the night before. They would have with Jesus. They would be worried about, because as a player, played the game as well and things like that. The one thing you don't like as a defender is to be humiliated, taking the mickey out of, like, you know what I mean? Like, and Jesus has got that ability to mug you off. And that then puts you in a defensive mode. When you come up against Eddie, you're going to be a little bit more confident and all that, like, you know, and I think you can get on top, you know, like, for instance, right, I'm playing against, I'm going to go right tight to him and go for him. If you do that against Jesus, he can quickly turn you. If you drop off, he can do things to you, like, so I think that they go right into him. And I think it's unfair on Eddie to sort of, for people to turn around, well, he's no Jesus. Well, he isn't. We know that, like, you know, and that's what he had. But what he will do, I think, I'm going to put my neck on the line here, like, you know what I mean? I think that in 10, 15 games or 14 games that Jesus has played, I'm going to bet now that Eddie gets 5 or more goals. So the goals ratio, I don't think will change. I don't think it will. I don't think we'll miss Jesus for the goals. It's what else? The whole package. And that's my worry. Big worry.
We're going to see how much Jesus has imparted upon Eddie Nketiah. I mean, I think one of the things that Gabby Jesus does that we don't even see, and it started over the summer, and we're going to find out whether it's helped, whether it's continuing, is kind of putting Eddie under his wing. And instead of saying, Eddie, watch what I'm doing, now he's going to say, let's start to put some of these things into action. I mean, this is why Gabby's so helpful as well. I mean, you have an Aubameyang who just does things, or a striker who is just naturally talented but doesn't necessarily work. And I suppose this is the case. I don't know this about Aubameyang. I'm using him as an example of a guy who can do, but not necessarily a guy who can teach and impart and take a guy under his wing. And I just absolutely think that about Jesus. So I think Eddie Nketiah, I agree it's not fair to consider Eddie Nketiah as a not good enough alternative to Gabby Jesus. There's a reason he makes less. There's a reason he doesn't start games when Jesus is healthy. But I do also think he's an average to above average Premier League backup striker, which is his job. I think part of Arteta's concern is that with Jesus out, Nketiah might not be able to play 90 minutes every single game while he's out. I mean, we have a good 5 or 6 games in the next week, in the next month, another 5 or 6 games after that before he gets back. Eddie can't play 90 minutes a game every single game, even if he's playing. So we have a backup plan. We have a change, either new blood or repositioning or a new formation or 70 minutes changes that are going to be necessary under any circumstances. But the one time we've really seen Eddie get an extended run at the Premier League level, we've seen him do much better than anyone thought that he could. And that was towards the end of last season when, admittedly, he was playing for a contract. So I'm not ready to throw my toys out of the pram about it yet. I would love to see some sort of reinforcement brought in. I do think that Mudryk is envisioned as being able to play up top a little more often than people might think. We're going to have a fluid offense. We don't always play a recognized striker in the kind of pseudo Man City system, the Arteta ball. So, you know, what we're going to miss out of Jesus is his pressing, his constant go, and, you know, and his tracking back. And if Nketiah has learned a little bit of that from him, I think we'll be better off than most people think.
Tom, I just find it so. First thing I did was WhatsApp you, right? Because first thing I said was, does that mean he doesn't trust Eddie anymore? I find it, these moments, and please don't take this the wrong way, I completely respect what Arteta has done and how he's turned things around. I was a very big critic in the early days. However, this to me is indicative of how he's still green as a manager. So some people say that Mikel's kind of, you know, standoffish in press conferences, or he doesn't give away too much. And I like that. I don't like that he gives away too much. He shouldn't be telling everyone about our injuries, but at the same time, the media need information and the fans want to know, right? And there's this juxtaposition sometimes for managers. Some are much more candid and lay on the line. And this to me felt very unlike Mikel. The last time I kind of felt this way, where I was like, why'd you say that? It was when he threw Pepe under the bus when he got sent off. After he patted Xhaka on the butt when he got sent off, he ripped Pepe a brand new one, it felt publicly. And to me, when you're talking about a player who is coming into a highly pressurized situation, I don't think there's any Arsenal player who is under more pressure coming back from the World Cup than Eddie Nketiah. And it's an unfortunate situation that he finds himself in all that pressure, but that's just the situation for us and for him. But for him to publicly come out and say that, I'm cool with it because we all love Martinelli. Super Kev will tell you he's concerned about Martinelli in terms of, being slight or coming up against central defenders, and it's a battle and you can't do it week in, week out. Jesus has taken so many hits already this season. So I felt it was a little bit going back to the naivety of Mikel Arteta and how at this point he should be building Eddie up on a mountain. You're the one dude that signed him. You're the one that gave him the money. You're the one that told us to believe that he can be one of the guys. So I find it a little off that he didn't come out in full support and kind of maybe word his response a little bit differently.
What was the quote? I mean, can you repeat that?
Yeah. He said, I think Jesus is a unique player, but Eddie has incredible qualities as well for the way we want to play. We have other alternatives in that we can play Martinelli up front as well. We are currently a little bit short in terms of upfront options, but getting Smith Rowe back is going to be a big one.
So that's all. That's also a message. Sorry, Mike, to the owners. Go on. I think as well, subtle, kind of like, hey, we still need more.
Yeah, I think you're right.
I think it's more about numbers and flexibility over 90 minutes. I don't read that, and I can understand how you would read that into a lack of support for Eddie Nketiah, but I look at that as saying, we're down 1, and now with Reece Nelson 2, people who are part of what I consider, I being Mikel Arteta, because clearly part of our kind of fluid offensive attack of 6 or 7 people that can interchange positions. I mean, Gabby Jesus isn't just Edin Dzeko who's just stuck up top all the time waiting to head in the ball. I mean, he's much more than that. And players, he might find himself on the left while Martinelli might be in the middle. And Jesus missing is a lot of that, but just having 2 people now missing from that, he's talking about depth, options, players returning that can help fill holes. I don't look at that as being a quote about Eddie Nketiah as much as I do about.
But it could have been a quote about Eddie in a much more, I'm building you up like you're the dogs. You know what I mean?
If it's about what he didn't say, then I would buy into that more about being critical about what he did say. And I think that probably is where you're headed, is that he didn't take.
Well, no, that was my point, right? It was he didn't have that quote is misguided by him, and he's still learning on the job as well, right? And he doesn't always get it right from a PR perspective, and he's not exactly personable. I think he's personable in the moments that you see in the game in All or Nothing, like he's engaging and you can totally buy into what he's doing. But even in the US tour, I think a couple of people said there's an awkward. I love it. To me, it smacks of that genius mind. Bit awkward maybe, and sometimes doesn't get it right. But I think he's learning on the job as well. So
yeah, and we've benefited a lot from that learning of the job. Where we sit right now in the league. I think that with Nketiah, whilst I think that it did strike me as a bit of wow. I think there's some doubt in whether or not Nketiah, or if Nketiah, he feels Nketiah can fill that hole. But in reality, is it fine to have doubts that Nketiah can be the filler for a world-class forward in Gabriel Jesus? I think most of us have doubts, that our number 2 can provide what the number 1 provides. I don't think that's an unreasonable. Go on, Lee.
Yeah, no, and the other thing is, like, you've got to be plain stupid if you don't realise or don't know that we need to strengthen in that area. It's not rocket science, you know what I mean? Like, I don't know how they're going to do it, and they're not going to be able to do it cheap, because it's so obvious that we've only got Eddie up front. Mike makes a great point. We're going into January, which is very, very busy. You've got the FA Cup involved with that, and also you've got Europa League come February. So Eddie cannot play constantly every single game. So somewhere there's got to be a rotation. Now, if you're going to rotate And you can't say, right, well, I'm taking you out, Eddie, and now I'm putting you in, Martinelli, when you've been playing and working your absolute nuts off down the flank for the last 4 or 5 games, which he, by the way, he does. You know, his work rate on that flank is exceptional, as it is with Saka as well. So you can't say, right, okay, I'm going to give you a rest, Eddie, and then I'm going to play you up there all the time. And then that's not got to happen. You've got to bring in somebody that's there. Now, the other thing that's really important and a disappointment to me over these friendlies more than anything is I was expecting to see Smith Rowe at least be involved in these, getting some sort of minutes. He's not had 1 minute. So that tells me that he's not going to be available for tomorrow. He's also not going to be available for Brighton, and he's not going to be available for Spurs and Manchester United, which are the 2 massive, massive games, and Newcastle. So you are going to be flogging the likes of Martinelli, Saka, and now Eddie for the next 4 or 5 games, unless you do invest. So I think maybe it's a little bit of a thing at the owners, and I'm going to be really honest, and nothing against our American friend over there in wherever he is. But what I will say is that if you know anything about football and you're the owner, then you will realise that you've got to make and back the club at this stage. You know what I mean? I think at the end of the day,
I think that's a real garbage take.
I would wait until they don't do that to start bringing reality into it. But I mean, no, I think they understand. I don't think last January is the same as this January.
No, it's not.
no,
Last January was a Aubameyang January. That's all we were doing. We were so distracted by that, you know, that they just didn't do it, and the options weren't there.
What you hope is they don't, if they can't realize the opportunity. Is that what you mean, Lee? That's in front of them?
Yeah, I do. I think that if they don't realise that opportunity they've got,
Right.
then they shouldn't be owners of this football club.
Trust me, they realize the opportunity. They realize it.
And I think that you know, you've got to be plain bloody stupid if you don't. You know, at the end of the day, you know.
Well, they threw the
I
kitchen
even
sink
think
at the Rams and the Avalanche. They've done it. They know what it takes to win a championship.
Yes, I do.
It
And
might not be in
I've
England,
got confidence in them now,
but they do
Tony.
know.
I've got confidence in them. I think over the last couple of years, their transfers have been really, really good. Windows, apart from last January. Last January cost us top 4. I don't care what. In the end, it
I
did
agree.
because if you look at Tottenham, out of all the teams, Manchester United, Arsenal, West Ham, and Tottenham are all going for the top 4. Manchester United didn't get no one. Arsenal didn't get no one. Nor did West Ham. Tottenham did, and they got the top 4. So the proof's in the pudding. So, but I even think even if Jesus was fit, going into the Europa League and the things that we've got going, we still need somebody in there. So I think it now becomes a priority. I'd be very, very disappointed in Arteta, Edu, and the Cronkies if we don't have a summer, a January where I think we need 3 players. And if we don't get those 3 players, I think not only will it cost us the title, I think it'll cost us top 4, guys. I really do.
We'll have to look back with retrospective action at the end of the season to see. Oh, not even then, at the end of the January window to see what we've done. Maybe we'll us for reconvene.
I think January's a massive. I don't know.
How I agree with you.
No, it will show a massive lack of ambition if we don't.
Massive January.
If we don't sign anyone, I'll be livid.
Yeah,
livid.
I don't see how Mudryk doesn't get done.
Yeah, I'm getting more confident about that by the day. You know, and this is being recorded on Wednesday, so I might be done by Christmas Day. Who knows?
Whether that's enough in and of itself, I don't necessarily think so. I do think we need a midfielder. I wouldn't mind seeing a couple of smart loans. But
who they are.
As we were previously, where all we can do are loans. We have the ability to sign players as long as they're the right players. And the fact that Mudryk is essentially handing us the keys to the transfer, it'll get done. That's the key, is that he wants to come here and he seems to be willing to make it happen. And when that is the case, generally the player gets what he wants.
I just want to jump in that water right now.
Look,
Yeah, it does look cold. Like if anyone was looking at
Florida.
this, they would think it's
Very
like
cold.
freezing.
We're having a cold snap here in Florida, just for but it'll be all right. Okay. By the
What
time
would be the average temperature for December then, Mike?
probably like 25, 26.
What's that in Celsius?
That is
Oh, that is it. Sorry, I'm just assuming. I love it when he just talks British to us for the benefit.
I translated to the target audience. Come on.
Did you see? I know you may have seen this because I know it would have annoyed you so much. But I saw a tweet today that used it just had the word Americans with a crying, laughing face, and it was a video of two pundits saying, "Did you know that Mbappe, Messi, and Miedemar all play on the same team?" Did you see that? No, it really bugged me because
who did that?
I think, to be fair, I think the account was something called Troll Football, so I'm not surprised. But it's a massive account. But it bugs me when that happens. I don't want to get into a whole, discussion about it because it could be a whole separate podcast. But I thought you might have seen it.
There are Americans who are idiots. There are idiots who are American. But those two things are not necessarily the same.
Yeah.
The country has, But
yeah, I just thought you might have seen it, and I thought it might have bugged you if you did, because I know so many. I mean, there's so many American football fans that know way more than I do, So Mike's not one of them, but
it's just unfortunate that no one in LA knows anything about the Premier League. I mean, that's the part that kills me.
Oh, don't get so started on that. Don't get so started on that. Oh, he's dropping drama. Anyway, let's round off today's show with our nice casual end and our game to finish off. Now, I challenged our guest this evening and myself to come up with 5 obscure facts that they're going to name one at a time, and after each fact we'll have to try and guess if we think we know who the Arsenal player of the last 20 years is. Soph, do you have yours? Are you now frantically trying to get?
No, you said facts and I did.
Right, we'll come to you last. So
I did clues.
Oh, you can. Okay. No, that's fine. Clues is good.
Okay,
clues is fine.
Okay,
clues is fine.
As Joe Pesci would say in
and then it will
Weapon.
hopefully give you everyone an idea of what we're talking about. So, the first fact, and you guys can chime in. If we get to the 5th one and you don't know, you get, let's say, 10 seconds. And if no one gets it by the end of the 5th fact, then I win. That's just how this...
Do we raise hands? Because apparently, if anyone else is talking, you can't hear me.
Yeah, you can raise your hand, Mike, if you like. Yeah, that's fine. I'll keep looking at the screen. So, first fact. I made 212 league appearances for Arsenal. So this is obviously all these players within the last 20 years of playing. So we've narrowed it down a bit. So
Theo Walcott.
No.
I just thought I'd get us started with some type of guess on everyone,
out for the rest of the entire game.
Yeah. You can't say any more now. No.
Yeah.
Second clue.
Probably a good thing.
I made my debut against Rotherham United.
How many appearances?
212. What are you?
Nicholas Bentner.
No. Philip Senderos became my earliest friend at the club thanks to us speaking the same language.
Oh my gosh.
We
go for the same.
Yo and Giroud, because they both speak Swiss.
Don't say it then, Sophie, if you're frantically Googling someone.
I'm not Googling. I've got holding a tennis racket and my hand in the other. I'm just wondering if we may have the same player.
Now going, what on earth? Why is she holding a tennis? I don't know, listeners.
It's my thinking cap.
It's a thing. Oh, okay. It's a thinking racket.
Is it Matthew? Is it Flamini?
No. Any guesses?
I'm going to have a guess then. Your one's Flamini.
Yeah, there you go. Find another one. So, 4th clue. When I left the club, I had to pay €1 million of my wage back to Arsenal each year for 5 years. This is all according to Wikipedia, so it might not even be true. But it's a cool fact. Anyone want to chime in after that? Clue number 4.
Why would they have to pay their...
I love that Lee immediately started thinking of other Swiss people because they must speak Swiss together.
Well, they speak 4 languages, though, don't they?
I know.
They speak a
Look
lot
at
of
Lee.
languages,
Well,
actually.
no, so you're out of order, Mike, saying that because you've gone down that route. I've gone like he's one of those players that's come through, the young player that's come through because Rotherham was like the Caribou Cup and would have played in it, like Cesc Fabregas would have made his debut in there. And I'm trying to think of a young player coming through at that age. That's why I went with Bentner. That was in and around that era.
Yeah, but you Guru first because of the same language.
Also, when I think of Senderos, the only other player on the planet I can think of is Didier Drogba.
No, because they're
Ate
not
him alive. No, I know, because he ate him alive.
Oh, I love this. This is great. Last fact. I now play in the Italian second division.
Cesc Fabregas.
It's Fabregas.
Yeah, it's Fabregas. When you were like, when you said they come through and they play the Carabao Cup like Cesc Fabregas, I was like, please, please don't let him use that as an official guest.
Do you know what? I'm going to be really honest. I was going to say Cesc Fabregas very, very early.
Yeah.
But I thought that he played more than 200 games for Arsenal. That's
Yeah.
why I didn't
That was
say
league
it.
appearances, Lee.
Ah,
I did say league appearances, so there you go.
all
Yeah,
right.
so he made his debut against Rotherham.
Yeah.
Philip Senderos was speaking Spanish with him when he first arrived, and yeah, he paid Arsenal 1 million of his wage from Barcelona back to Arsenal for 5 years.
Yeah, I'd sort of gone off. I'd gone off the trail of Cesc Fabregas because of the 200. I didn't really listen to the questions. So,
so if I'm going to let you go next, because I know you might need
that's
to
1-0 to the judge. Shall I just put 1-0 to the judge?
There you go. Yeah, that's fine. 1-0 to the judge. So if I let you go next, in case you have to shoot off.
Matthew Firmini.
Can I give my clues though?
Yeah, so one at a time.
Okay. My first clue was 84.
So when I said last 20 years, you ignored that.
No.
Born in 84.
Was he 84 years old?
That was my first clue.
Wham.
Yes. Second clue, he's played with David Beckham. Would you have got that?
No.
Because of AC
Right.
Milan.
Because of AC Milan.
Oh, you actually are doing Flamini. I was
Yeah. I'm just giving you my clues now.
Yeah.
Okay, I thought I'd yeah.
Before you gave it
Then
away.
a later clue was "Here's to You," of course.
Okay.
Because it was his song. And then my final clue was going to be actually 2 more and a bonus one, but signed for the club twice was another clue.
Mm-hmm.
And then he's played for a club managed by an ex-Arsenal captain was going to be the giveaway.
Of course. Mike.
All right. Now, you gave me 45 seconds to think of this.
I did.
And I apparently, as I discovered earlier in this podcast, cannot switch my screen to look at Wikipedia while I'm on air. Completely black. Going from memory here.
Okay.
He started at the club wearing number 37.
Oof, that's a great stat.
Theo Walcott.
Number 37.
He's 32, if I remember right.
I'm going to change the shirt. 37.
Shamak.
20 years.
29, I think he was.
Yeah, he was. I know it was a weird number, but yeah.
37. Alexis Sanchez.
Was he always 17 and then 7?
17 and 7.
Yeah.
All right. Second clue or?
Yeah, go for it.
Yeah, second clue.
All right. He left Arsenal and had a successful career in the lower leagues.
Ooh.
Oh, your mate. Eastman.
Yeah, I should have known. As soon as I thought of this before, I knew that Lee was going to be a fan.
Well, that weren't very good. Now Lee's won.
Nah, he's not one.
He's the current captain of his club, and he's captained the club from for at least one league promotion. And my fifth clue was going to be Lee, and I met him, and
Nice.
And working towards getting him on the podcast. I don't know what to talk about. What I have no idea, but I can say that I've had someone on the podcast that you haven't done.
Right, there's loads of them. There's loads of
Well,
them.
Actually, most of the people on your podcast you got from me. So
I refuse to have astronauts. No, I'm joking. Lee.
Okay, my co-presenter of the Highbury squad is my.
it said the last 20 years, not the last 40 years. The last 20.
Oh dear. No. I'm only kidding. I'm only kidding. Right. Was at Arsenal for 5 years, making 110 appearances.
That's not league appearances. That's all appearances, right?
That's all appearances.
5 years, 110.
I mean, I don't
Next
know.
clue.
You
Yeah,
can't
next clue.
Wikipedia.
Next clue. He scored 13 goals. Unlucky for some for the Arsenal.
Is it Mikel Arteta?
No.
Sorry. What was your first clue, Gianni?
She was busy tweeting.
He was at Arsenal for 5 years, making 110 appearances.
5 years, 100. And the second clue?
He scored
13
13 goals.
5 years.
That's ironic because Arteta actually did make 110 league appearances. So. Yeah, he did.
So you're cheating then.
No, I just googled Mikel Arteta just to see. I was curious.
All right. What's the next clue?
Next clue, he's 37 years of age.
Hmm. 37.
Is it Jack Wilshere?
Nope.
No.
He had
I'm
more than
I'm trying to
100
guess,
appearances.
Mike. Don't judge me. He was injured
This
so
one,
much.
I
I thought he
think,
might have been limited
I
to
think
that.
this one will give it away. So I don't know
Yeah.
whether to go for the other one, but do you want me to give you the giveaway one? I think that you might get it from.
Why don't you go to the one that's less of a giveaway first?
Okay, the less of the giveaway is he's a former Arsenal captain.
Koscielny.
Nope.
Koscielny.
Vermaelen.
Thomas Vermaelen is correct.
Oh,
Well
yeah.
done, Sophie. Yeah, the last one was he's a current coach of Belgium.
Mm.
I was shocked that he only had 110 appearances.
Yeah.
Again, like Wilshere was injured all the time.
Yeah, it was justifiable, Tom. Yeah.
I was a big fan of his. When he first come to the club, I thought, wow, what's a
I
signing
know.
he was.
Me too.
Yeah.
I thought we
He
had
just-
our
just score
Vidic when he
goals
came.
Mad
Yeah.
places, didn't he? Like,
Yeah.
He was,
Very,
he
very
was the
good left foot,
beast.
Powerful. Yeah,
Mm.
powerful. Again,
Indeed.
you know what I mean? Like another one that's blighted by injuries, which is currently still going on with his football club today.
I can't believe we sold him for like 18 mil to Barcelona either.
I know. Yeah, somehow we managed that. I don't think he barely played. In 110 games, just 11 games for Barcelona. I don't know how many he played. It wasn't many. But there you go. Lee wins, unsurprisingly. Our little mini game.
Hey, I'll tell you, go on then. Hazard a guess, because I have wrote this down, right? How many appearances did he make for Barcelona?
3.
3? Surely it's more than 3.
He was there for
Are we
5 years.
Are we talking in the league? In the league or
No,
total?
Actual appearances for Barcelona in 5 years. He was there.
Yeah, I'm going to
5
say
years.
3.
I'm going to say 17.
69.
Oh, really? That's a nice number, Magic.
What? I don't understand why.
34 appearances.
34 appearances in 5
That was the
years.
closest.
Incredible, wasn't it?
I said you didn't hear me. I said half 69.
Oh, half of 69.
So 34 and a half because he got taken off, 34 and a half? Yeah, 34 and a half. Anyway, massive thank you to my guest this evening. I hope, listeners, you've enjoyed this impromptu and random and probably at some point inappropriate I've skipped by show at some stage. Thank you for listening. Really appreciate your time. Mike, thank you for joining us all the way from Florida, of course, at short notice. Much appreciate it.
Thank you for having me. Always appreciate you scheduling this with me in advance. It's always great.
Absolutely.
See you soon,
absolutely.
Mike. See you soon.
Yeah, we'll see you next month. Absolutely. I'm looking
What
forward
game's
to
you
it.
over for?
Man United, isn't it?
Spurs and United. Spurs away in United.
I've requested the day off after Man United, so I might not be able to see you on the day because I'll probably be working. But the day after.
Charles Watson visits us at the Tollington when he's working, so you can take the goddamn.
Well, don't out him. You just outed him.
Killing. What is this? Killing me softly with Potsy? I mean, what the heck? Poor guy.
Shocking,
I mean,
isn't it?
seriously, shocking stuff.
Big trouble right now if you're not on this pod. So
Yeah, indeed. So, thank you so much for your time, as always.
You're
my
welcome. I
right-hand
will be in
gal.
London too in January. I will
Oh,
be at
brilliant.
the Man United game, and
Oh, fantastic. Well, let's all get together then, like, you know?
Yeah.
yes, we're going to
We'll
have a
do
Greek meze. Done.
Brilliant.
Lovely
Brilliant. Look
stuff.
forward to
Me
that.
and
Whatever that
Simeon will
is,
sort
I
it.
look forward to it.
Indeed. And lastly, Mr. Judges, thank you so much for your time, my friend.
Always a pleasure, Tom, and it's been a pleasure sharing this magnificent platform with the two Yanks. Lovely.
Indeed. Look at her face. It's like, I'm not going to bite. That's bait. I'm not going to
I know
bite.
very well. I know that.
I
Sophie's
almost
not really,
bit
I
on
know,
the
just
Los
trying to-
Angeles. You know what? God bless America. You know what I love about America is that people misunderstand America. When people are in trouble, who do they call? They call America. That's right. They call the magics of the world because he stepped in when others stepped out. That's right. You Brits, you didn't show up tonight. But who did? The American. And let me tell you something about Los Angeles. You laugh at it, but it provides the entertainment of the world.
Oh, that
Music,
sounds right.
movies, sports. And you know what else? People here know their football. Merry Christmas, everyone.
not America.
Did I say something wrong there, Tom? I might have said something wrong there. I don't know.
I don't know what you said. You were just on the. Goodness me. Anyway,
Just
people,
rewinding.
thank-
Just rewinding
Yeah, I
to
mean,
the
they
people
can,
in
they
LA
can
don't know
rewind.
their football. All right.
They-
There we go.
That's twice now. Anyway, thank you so much, guys, for tuning in. Appreciate it as always. I will see you again very soon. Enjoy your Christmas day, and as always, up the Arsenal.
Happy Hanukkah.